More than 2 decades ago, a story began to find me. I guess that's the right way to say it. It actually began with a correspondence with a serial killer, a real serial killer. He was put to death back in 2005, 2006, but he gave me permission as a result of our conversations to tell anything about his story that I might find useful. And it took me a number of years to figure out how to act upon that. It was a pretty profound story. It resulted in the book A Killer's Grace, which was published a few years ago. I had to create a whole fictional structure around it. He didn't want me to disclose his identity, didn't want anyone else to be harmed. He'd already raped and murdered 7 women. When it finally hit the streets, the first review that came in said it was a great psycho-spiritual thriller, which the reviewer said was a whole new genre, so I've created a whole new genre. But that same reviewer said he was so enthralled with it that he couldn't wait for the sequel. And I said to myself, well, damn, I didn't know there was a sequel. I just thought I was telling a singular story. I stumbled into something that was also pretty profound. If A Killer's Grace was largely about inherent innocence, what I stumbled into was the idea of post-traumatic growth. And usually people say, what? Post-traumatic growth? Never heard of that. Post-traumatic stress, yes, not growth. Well, it turns out that this is kind of on the cutting edge of reality, that some of the same stuff, wars, violence, poverty, some of the same stuff that creates post-traumatic stress also creates post-traumatic growth. The things that cause damage can also cause transformation. Well, when I found out about that and saw the research and data behind it, I was off to the races with trying to understand what that might mean. So here's what it looks like. Literally, there's this moment where something can happen and there's a branch that goes to the dark side, stress. The other branch goes to growth. And I thought, well, that's a remarkable idea to add to the ideas I explored in A Killer's Grace. But this psycho-spiritual exploration, this thriller, brings together looking at dark things and then trying to navigate them so we can learn and grow from them. So post-traumatic growth is this incredibly cool thing. The research at this point tells us there really is something there. And what a profound idea, that the difficulties of the world, the challenges that people face, that they can in fact be the basis for transformation. So that's the exploration Pitcairn and Emmy go off and explore. It takes them from New Mexico, where the original setting was, all the way into Appalachia, and the explorations begin there. One of the things I really like about the feedback on the book is that they tell me, the people who've read this, tell me that the characters really are great characters, which I'm glad to hear that because they're all based on real people that I've come across over the times that I've been exploring these issues. But the other piece that I really love is that they tell me I get landscape and setting really, really well. Well, that's heart stuff for me. That brings up kind of the question of, well, why this whole storyline? Well, during the pandemic, I spent about 2 years in what I call my inner pilgrimage. And I realized that this whole theme of grace and the flip side of grace, the exploration of difficult subjects, is what the depth psychologist, the Jungian psychologist, would call my soul's journey home. The dark side of grace looks at post-traumatic growth and looks at the dark side and sees if we can find a way to navigate the world with a different set of eyes, a different set of non-judgment, and an opportunity to see the world in a beautiful way, albeit with a lot of dark, challenging material. So I hope you like it. I certainly enjoyed telling the story, and I guess I have to say, the 3rd book is written, and the 4th book is underway. So stay with me, and look forward to chatting with you all about it.